So this is a very, very interesting idea from Roberto Giobbi. This is based on something that I saw of his works, and it's an interesting thing in a sucker trick. Now, I do love a good sucker trick, and this one reels in the spectator, but it is going to depend on the cards you get. So you are going to have the ability to riff it, as they say. So what you're going to do here is you're going to get the spectator to pick a card. In this case, let's say it's the Queen of Hearts, and you're going to control this card to the bottom using whatever technique you want. So if you want, you could do a double undercut followed by a milk shuffle. So you're just going to hold these cards tightly with your left hand here as you overhand shuffle the cards, keeping that card in the bottom. And here, you're actually going to allow the spectator to peek at the fact that the Queen of Hearts is on the bottom of the deck, unbeknownst to you, the performer. So it's very important that when you have the spectator pick the card, that they show it around to as many people as possible so everyone knows the Queen of Hearts is the card that the spectator picked. That's going to be very, very important here. Now, you're going to tell the spectator in the context of you could have picked any one of these cards. You're going to pick any one of these cards whatsoever, but please do keep in mind the card you have because I'm going to try to reach inside your mind and use my ability as a magician, my many years of experience, my expertise to find your card. So it's very important right here that I'm flashing the Queen of Hearts as much as possible because I'm going to take out approximately 6 or 7 cards that aren't the Queen of Hearts. So I'm going to take these cards out from the middle, and the spectator here should be privy to the fact that I'm not taking out the Queen of Hearts. So that's going to add to the humor in a bit. So you actually are going to add the Queen of Hearts using a Vernon move. So you're going to do the Vernon substitute transfer in this case, or the Vernon addition, whatever you want to call it, with the Queen of Hearts on these particular cards. So the move is very, very simple. It goes like this. You're going to have a bunch of cards outjogged. The Queen of Hearts is in the bottom of the deck. If you want, you could flash this one more time to the spectator saying, I do believe that your card is over here. Again, I've been doing this for so many years. I don't think I've ever been wrong. So at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get a break underneath that Queen of Hearts, rather above it. I'm just going to strip all these cards out. So right now, these cards are all outjogged. What's going to happen is that I'm just simply going to grab the deck here underneath at the bottom. So the bottom edge, I'm going to grab the card. Because of my break, I'm just going to slide that Queen of Hearts to the top where I can now strip these cards out, adding that Queen to the bottom of that packet. So at speed, it's a very, very simple maneuver. I'm just outjogging all these cards. I'm taking all these cards from the deck, telling the spectator that I'm getting clues. I'm getting massive clues, if you want to rip off South Park here, as to all these cards. Don't say a word. You don't need to, as a matter of fact. That's a great line from Roberto Giobbi. You don't need to tell me because I already know, all right? You don't need to tell me. I already have the experience. So here, once again, all I'm doing is taking that Queen and transferring it to the bottom here as I take these cards out. Now I'm going to drop these cards on the table and I'm going to proceed with these cards as we go here. So it's going to be very, very interesting because spectators typically don't have the ability to count cards in the sense that we do. So they don't really have any sort of idea as to how many cards we took out. We're just making it haphazard here and we're not drawing attention to the exact amount of cards that we've taken out here, which is going to hide the method. Now at this point, again, remember, you could peek at the card. You could have peeked at it previously. But at this point, if you haven't peeked at it already, you could just take these cards to yourself and say, I do believe your card is one of these. So I'm going to use my my ability, my Sherlock Holmes-like skill to try to determine which card you pick, sir. Now, you are going to have to do a displacement, and we're going to get into a display here in a moment as to showing the spectator the card. And just simple. All we're going to do is take the bottom card of the deck, put it on the top, spread a couple cards, maybe take this middle card, put it on the bottom, and we're doing this as we are trying to determine what the spectator's card is. Now at this point, we could get into a nice little bit of a display here where we very openly show the cards to the spectator while hiding the card. Now all we're doing here is we're just going to get a break underneath the second card. So we have a break here. We're going to do a double lift. So we're going to do the Stuart Gordon double lift, I believe. That's what it's called. I always called it the Gordon Bruce double lift to the dismay of everybody in the comment section, but I'll appease your virginity here, okay? So you're doing the Stuart Gordon double lift at the same time that you're going to spread and turn over all these cards at the same time here. So at speed, it just looks like this. And all that simply does is that it conveys to the audience that there's no way that their card is among these because we spread this. This is held very fair. and we can turn these cards over. And now we could actually get into the procedure here. So all we're going to do is we're going to take a peek at the spectator's card, and we're going to eliminate the cards that either match the spectator's cards or whatever you think would be the funniest. So in this case, the Queen of Hearts is the only cord card here, and that happens to be the spectator's card. So I'm just going to knock out all the red cards. So I'm just going to say, I do believe your card isn't red. So I don't think you would pick a red card. So I'm going to take those cards out. So we're just left with, we're left with the blacks here. I don't want to say anything here. But we're left with the blacks. Again, I know what I'm doing, okay? And again, I'm doing that display here. So at this point, I'm just doing the display. All they see is black. So this is a very interesting scenario for them to be a part of. Now, at this point, you could talk about the fact that you don't think that they picked an odd card, because they don't seem like an odd sort of person to you. So you could take out the 5s and the 3s and say, you know what, I don't feel like you would go for an odd card. I do think that you would go for a card that's even, because you're an even person. You're an even sort of guy. And for the last one, you could just riff it. You could just play around with the spectator at this point and say either, oh, you know what, we'll go for fate here. We'll try to have fate determine which one is your card here. So, oh boy, all right. I'm just going to take these 2 cards out, sir. For the first time, name your card. The spectator is going to name their card to the behest of you. The laughter is going to be all directed at you until you turn the card over and you show the fact that it's the Queen of Hearts. Now, if you do have some other cards, what you could do is you could just play around with that. So you could play around with a double lift. Maybe you could show the fact that it's a different card. So you could show 5 of spades. You're not going to draw attention to the card, but you could do a double lift and say, you know what, I'm just going to go with my gut here. I'm just going to go with my gut. Sir, for the first time, name your card. What was your card? Of course, they're going to say the Queen of Hearts. You've just surreptitiously showed that you've had the 5 of spades, or you think it's the 5 of spades. And again, you could simply show that it's the Queen of Hearts and come to a conclusion here that they didn't think you were going to go for. So it's an interesting little bit, and you could just reel them in. So it's, again, based on your personality here. I've done a couple tricks here. There's a mystery card that I remember is also based on engaging with the audience. This is one that you could have a lot of fun with, but it does have a lot of opportunity for byplay, little bits and byplay, if you want to call it that. So that's a fun one, again, based on a routine by Roberto Giobbi. His had a cop, so he would go and cop the cards into his pocket and take out a wad of cash. At this point, I think that this is just a fun way to reel the spectators in to your ridiculousness. So thank you guys for being piggybackers. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you on the next one.